How very dispiriting to find out that the Germans are not the ruthlessly efficient administrators we were always told they were, and that they're just the same sort of bungling idiots that we've got here. In fact, worse. I never thought I'd be saying that about Rishi Sunak's assemblage of people that's supposed to be a government. However, something came out of Germany's bungling, which is really unsettling, and it's this. Last week, Mr. Schultz suggested that British troops were helping to fire cruise missiles, leading the Kremlin claiming Western allies were entering the war with Russia. That sounds pretty much the case, if that's true. In the leaked video call, the head of the German Air Force said Britain have a few people on the ground operating in reachback, a military term that suggests units deployed deep into Ukraine. I remember how the Vietnam War started. Well, I mean, I don't remember the discussions at the time, but I remember how people have spoken about it, and apparently it started with a few advisors on the ground. British troops in Ukraine. What? What? I'm Grannyopteryx. So it turns out, first of all, that the German government is even more incompetent than the British government, and I thought we had hit rock bottom. And secondly, the Germans aren't the ruthlessly efficient bureaucrats that we thought they were. Oh, that's wonderful, isn't it? How many more stereotypes are we going to lose? This is terrible, very unsettling. And this is the story. German military leaks have put British troops at risk, it said. So I thought, well, how could they possibly put British troops at risk? And then it turns out there appear to be British troops in Ukraine. What the F? Now, as everyone knows who's been watching my channel, I am absolutely on the side of Ukraine. I think Russia is 100% wrong. I don't fall for this NATO expansion provoked it nonsense. It's rubbish. A sovereign state can choose with whom that sovereign state wishes to form alliances. This is all rubbish. But it's a sovereign state that's fighting for its life, and we should help them as much as we can. We can give them money, we can give their refugees sanctuary, we can provide them with arms. Should we actually send our young men into their soil to do their fighting for them? Absolutely not. No way. Absolutely not. Now, this is something I think probably called mission creep, and it should be stopped. And this is what happened. Last week, Mr. Schultz suggested that British troops were helping to fire cruise missiles, leading to the Kremlin claiming Western allies were entering the war with Russia. Very dangerous. In the leaked video call, the head of the German Air Force said Britain have a few people on the ground operating in reachback, which apparently is an expression that suggests units are deployed in Ukraine. Reachback, nice name. One of those words that, you know, only means something to the people who know what it means. Everyone else, no idea. But now we do know. British troops in Ukraine? No, absolutely not. Well, not until the British people have had a chance to think about it. Not behind our backs. But then this government that we are presently suffering under, they're making a lot of decisions that appear to have no rhyme or reason and might be secret. The judiciary imprisoning white men for the same crimes that they just let brown women off for instance. That's not terribly articulate, but I think you get the point. There's a whole lot of stuff going on that we don't know about. But I don't want our young men out there in Ukraine. I'd rather send them money, of course, because One dead young man is worth any amount of money to me. And when I think of that young man having a mother, a wife, children, family, all that sort of thing. Military experts warned that the revelations put British troops at risk. I'll bet they do. They put the entire British public at risk as well. How dare the government make secret war? Look, I'm angry about it. I don't know actually whether it's true. It might just be a misunderstanding. Do you think it's a misunderstanding? Meanwhile, security experts warned that Britain was not ready for a high casualty scenario. No, well, who is? So it looks like that leak happened because of Russian infiltration into German governmental structures of various sorts. Ben Wallace, the former defense secretary, has previously warned that Russian agents have a foothold within the country's security services. And the country, I'm assuming he's talking here about Russia. The leaked audio was released amid a mounting political row in Berlin over the deliveries of Taurus, or they'd say Taurus, cruise missiles to Ukraine. Mr. Scholz is under pressure at home and abroad to match Britain and France's donations of Storm Shadow missiles. I agree with that 100%. And he has insisted such a move would drag his country into a direct war with Moscow. Well, what would really drag his country into a direct war with Moscow would be German soldiers in Ukraine, fighting on the Ukraine side. And the whole point is that German troops would be needed on the ground to help Ukrainian forces operate the missiles. No, the Ukrainians seem bright enough. They could be trained in Germany. I'm constantly being told that YouTube removes subscriptions without the subscriber realizing it. So please check that you really are still subscribed. All the links to my other channels are in the description, including links to donation sites. But simply clicking like is the best thing you can do for this video and my channel generally. Thank you. Spokesman for Rishi Sunak said the leak would not deter Britain's support for Ukraine and its work with Germany. Well, you see, actually, this is one reason for one good reason for Brexit, because if Germany and France and all the other European nations are sharing each other's secrets without borders, this sort of thing will happen again and again, only bigger, because more countries will be involved. But that's a side issue. Look, asked about the security breach, one of the worst by Berlin since the Cold War, the Prime Minister's spokesman said, "It's obviously a matter for Germany to investigate, and you've got Chancellor Scholz's words on this." I'm sorry, I used to be a comedy writer, and I can't help but remember that a certain British politician went over to speak to a certain previous German chancellor and came back brandishing something that looked a lot like this and saying, "I have in my hand a piece of paper." Oh, Germany, Germany. Oh, our governments. Oh, good God, what a mess. Yes. Before I end this, I want to say I am on the side of Ukraine. I will personally do what I can to help them in my vote, in my support of MPs who agree with arming Ukraine, even in my taxes. Yes, I will. I have done. And I have looked after Ukrainian refugees, by the way, personally. So, I'm not just being theoretical here. However, I do not agree to British troops being in Ukraine as British troops. Of course, British volunteers want to go there. That's their decision. But not people from the British military. And without being told. Ridiculous. Insulting. Okay. Till next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Graniopteryx design or Grambo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.graniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share, share, share.